From the heart of America, where hard work, freedom, and faith still define who we are. From the farms to the factories, from small towns to city streets, this is the fight for the soul of our nation.
We're watching Democrats attack democracy. Do not be fooled.
The strength, the grit, the greatness of the American spirit, all right here.
The left wanted power, not peace, but there's a resistance rising. A generation saying enough, enough. We've tried it their way, and it failed.
The Steve Gruber Show with your host, Steve Gruber, starts right now.
All right, let's dive right in as we go into another action-packed day, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom and putting America first, making sure this country is here for our kids and grandkids. Let's get rolling here on a Friday and cover all the big things. Here are three big things to start with. Number one, Texas AG Ken Paxton says he would drop out of his runoff race with Senator John Cornyn if Cornyn agrees to help pass the SAVE Act in the U.S. Senate. It is a bold challenge. Number two, Kristi Noem fired yesterday by President Trump as Secretary of Homeland Security, and the president nominated Markwayne Mullins, the Oklahoma senator, to replace her, but she's not leaving. We'll explain. And number three, the war with Iran, now a week old. And by all measures, the United States, along with Israel, and now Arab nations and others, are pounding the regime with endless attacks. So how long can it go on? Well, some now say until September. That would be a political liability for the midterms and the Republicans, it seems to me, that's for sure. But what do you think? It's Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered by the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966, 877-310-9966. Remember to get your point in or ask your question so we can hear from as many people as possible. Don't dawdle, as my mother would say. All right, but first, I want you to hear this.
Now that people are on antidepressants, now men are as well, they're on Ozempic, they're on all this stuff.
Yes.
Now, if you watch a football game, I go out of my way. I love that you're on Substack and so because you don't have to see commercials. When you watch football, all of a sudden you see commercials, and I just watch. There are so many side effects to, and, it's always suicidal and rage, and and by the way, every school shooting, everybody's all guns. I said it's not about the guns, and it turns out that it's not only about the guns. People on drugs, not only on drugs, it's usually the wrong hormones for the wrong sex. And this transgender is to me one of the. This was the Rubicon for me with Democrats. If you're still a Democrat and you support mutilating 5-year-olds because they like the color pink, you're just a monster. Shut up. I'm just
agree.
Done with Democrats. If you're still a Democrat now, you're nuts.
You're nuts. James Woods, Hollywood actor and activist on social media. All right, Free Speech, Free for All, Friday, 877-310-9966. Mike is in upstate New York to kick us off. Mike, welcome to it.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Greetings from upstate New York. How are you doing?
I'm good. What's on your mind today?
Well, look, I'm kind of wondering, we seem to stumble from one disaster to the next over the last 5 years. And I think we tend to lose track of some of the things that have happened to us as we move along here. And one thing that occurred to me recently is that I wonder what's happening in those small American towns that were dumped by the thousands of illegals and refugees by the Biden invasion. What's happening there in those school districts, in those hospitals and so forth? It seems like when you dump, a couple of thousand kids into a school district, a small one, where they don't speak English, they don't know how to use a flush toilet. What's happening in these towns? Is there some way that you could get somebody to check into that and make a report?
I think that's a great idea, Mike. Thank you for the call. Springfield, Ohio. Lewistown, Maine, better known as Little Mogadishu. These other places all over America. If you just took and dispersed them to the wind, these people, and put a few here and a few there, it'd be one thing. But you go in and you change the culture of a small town. Mike's exactly right. He nailed it. So let me hear from you folks. Do you have one of these communities near you where they've brought in, and it doesn't matter what country they're from, right? Could be from Ireland. They're not, but they could be. The point being is, how has it changed a community that you're familiar with? Go to stevegruber.com. Send me an email. I'd love to hear what's happening in your state. And we'll go put some cameras on it. We will. We'll go take a look for ourselves and find out. Mike, thank you for the call. Let's go to Ray in Virginia. Ray, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
What's on your mind?
Well, I seen I lost you.
No, you didn't lose me. Let's go.
Hey, Steve, I've been watching all week long, and I've only heard one thing. People moaning and groaning and crying. And I've come to one conclusion. Democrats are smarter than we think. They can multitask. They can cry, they can moan and groan, all at the same time. And we have to change how we look at them because they're not normal people. A normal person would take things in stride and look at left and right and what's good and bad. The Democrats can't do that. They have one agenda, they're sort of, how would you put it, they can only see straight forward. They can't see to the side.
They've got one agenda, Ray. You're exactly right. Good phone call. Here's the thing. There's only one thing they care about. One, they hate Donald Trump. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what he does, how well he does it, what happens that's good or bad, doesn't matter. And this is for a big subsection. It's not for all Democrats, but for a big subsection of the Democrats anymore. They don't care. I just listened to Ro Khanna just before I came on this morning, Ro Khanna, saying, yes, Donald Trump has committed numerous impeachable offenses. Really? What? What? Building a ballroom, closing the border, what? What's your gripe today? You know, and I've talked about this. After an election that my candidate loses, right? And I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not affiliated with any political party, but if there's an election that my candidate loses, I don't get up and cry the next morning and lay in the fetal position in the middle of the living room. No, I get up and I go to work. That's what Americans do. You get up and you go to work and say, well, we'll have to do better next time. Not so for those on the left. You've seen the pictures. Gnashing of teeth and crying and carrying on. Exactly right, Ray. A lot of problems coping for our friends on the left. Let's go to Tom in Michigan. Tom, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Steve. Love your show.
Thank you.
I just think that you're welcome. I just think that we need to have a border authority, not a czar authority of the border. That's not us. We're a border authority. And we need to keep calling this a constitutional republic because I'm tired of hearing about democracy. That's a form of socialism, isn't it?
Well, there's a reason we're not a democracy, Tom. Thank you for the phone call. Look, democracy was something debated by the founders. They rejected it. A democracy is two wolves and a sheep sitting there deciding what's going to be for lunch, right? And they vote. Simple stuff. Democracies fail because at some point the people realize they can vote themselves into the treasury. Democracies fail. Representative republics protect minority voters as well. That's the point. Everybody gets a voice. Doesn't mean you're going to win if you're in the minority, unless, of course, you're a Democrat and you've got the filibuster, at which point you can upend government because Republicans don't have the balls to do what's right, but that's a story for a different day. Anyhow, we are a representative republic. Thank you for the call, Tom. Free speech, free for all Friday. Ed, Mike, Jennifer, and more after this. I'll be right back. It is the Steve Gruber Show. All right, diving back into a free speech Free for All Friday. We go around the country every Friday to hear from you, to get your impressions on the big stories and what's happening. Ed is in Indiana today. Ed, welcome to the program. What do you have for me?
Morning, Steve. When good negotiates with evil, good loses every time. We've allowed Iran to get so powerful and cartels to get so powerful that the U.S. military is the last entity human entity on Earth that can stop them. And anybody under 80 in this country hasn't been alive when we fought a war to win it, and it's just got out of hand. And we also got to look out where God's hand is in this war.
And you think you made a great point there. We haven't fought a war to win one in a long time, it seems. Fighting to a tie in Vietnam or whatever that was, however you rank that now, was a disaster. But I believe we're in a different day here. Look, if you missed it, we were out taking out drug cartels in Ecuador. At the same time, we've been operating against Iran in the last week, working against drug cartels in Mexico, obviously Venezuela, knocking those down, taking control of the Western Hemisphere. And for anybody watching, there is no question about the superiority of the American military. It's been demonstrated several times in the last year, whether it was Midnight Hammer, Epic Fury, the operation against Maduro in Venezuela. You pick your operation. Sophisticated, coordinated, on point, and powerful. Incredibly powerful. Great call, Ed. Thank you. Let's go to Mike. He's in Arizona as we go around the country. Mike, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. I'd like to get your thoughts on the DOJ seemingly not to worry about Neville Roy Singham, who contributes millions of dollars to supposedly nonprofits to pay agitators and protesters.
Neville Roy Singham is another product of the left. He's up there with George Soros. He is a problem. He funnels piles of money, and I mean piles of money, tens of millions, maybe billions of dollars. He made a fortune here in America and then went to China, where he sits and he sends all this money back to agitate against America. It makes no sense at all unless they pay him even more. Neville Roy Singham is the new George Soros, and he might be worse. So if you don't know his name, become familiar with it. Mike, you're exactly right. We have to stay focused on that. These people are being paid. All this money flowing in, and the DOJ needs to focus on this. I agree with you. Figure out who the agitators are, but more importantly, figure out who's paying the freight. I mean, you see all these signs. They're all pre-made. They're all held in warehouses and storage units, and they're all ready to go. Let's see, here's the Iran locker. Oh, no. Here's the Palestine locker. Oh, no. Here's the Venezuela locker. Whichever locker you want with your signs for your rent-a-riot, right? Just get your rent-a-riot, load up the vans, pay the protesters, who aren't real, and get on your way. You know what was real? The Iranian people dancing in the streets, celebrating, praying that after 47 years their country might become free again. Or something close. Let's go to Jennifer in Michigan. Jennifer, how are you?
Well, good morning. I was just wondering why when they were interviewing and questioning Bill Clinton, they never brought up the photograph of him or the portrait of him in a blue evening gown in Epstein's home.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, if you didn't know him very well, Mr. President,
that would have answered the question. Did you have anything to do with Epstein, and in what capacity? That would have answered everything.
Well, I agree with that. And what about Hillary saying she never met the man? He gave the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton Global Initiative
Hillary
millions.
has a split tongue like a snake. She doesn't know the meaning of the word truth. Yeah. The end justifies the means. Thank you, hon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There you have Jennifer checking in. We didn't spend much time with the Clinton tapes because so much else is going on, but I didn't believe a thing. The one thing that my takeaway, Bill Clinton gazing with a little grin on his face, a little bit of spittle in the corner of his mouth, looking at the pictures. Can you tell us about that? He's got a grin on his face. The lawyer tries to take the picture away. He grabs it back so he can reminisce. I mean, come on. Jeez. All right. Nate is in the great state of Iowa, the heart of this country. Nate, how are you today?
Good, Steve. How are you?
I'm good. What's on your mind?
Well, I'll tell you. I called about 6 months ago in regards to this. I still stand firm on getting rid of Susie Wiles, Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, and Kash Patel. Nothing's being done. I know that they get on X and they say, oh, we've caught this person, we've caught this group. Well, no, we didn't vote for that. We voted for the deep state. The deep state is still out there and still actually committing the major crimes that we voted to get out. That's all I got, Steve.
I appreciate it, Nate. You feel the same way a lot of people do. We want to see people that have committed crimes against this country. And you can go to Minnesota. Look at the fraud. $19 billion in fraud last time I checked. I mean, these are big numbers, and nobody's been arrested. Can't believe it. Can't accept it. Chance for one more. Al from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You're up, buddy. What's up?
Yeah, Steve, I watch your program every day.
Thank
Love
you.
it. Get up early to watch it. And my little issue is every time somebody comes up with this Constitution thing, freedom of speech, I can own a gun, they never go back to the original intent of our founding fathers that talked about morals, religion, providence, God. None of this nonsense, these wackos in Minnesota and these Congress people that scream and beat on Trump, who's doing one tremendous job, best from 75.
Al, you're exactly right.
Best
You know,
president
you
in
make
my
a great
lifetime.
point. John Adams and others said you had to have a moral populace. Oh, and a well-educated electorate, said Jefferson. These are important points. You have to be moral. You have to be educated. What do we have today? I'm not sure we have either in big numbers. More of your calls after this.
All right.
We're about to get distribution across the country now. We've been approached by a couple of different groups. Want to take Forgotten America, our new podcast, for only 3 weeks in, and distribute it across all the platforms. That's good news. Ivy and I are out there talking to some very interesting people. The podcast, Forgotten America, drops every Monday morning at 9 a.m. on the Steve Gruber YouTube platform. Coming up Monday, Peter Schweitzer, the best-selling author. He wrote things like Clinton Cash, where he explained where the Clintons got all their money from people like Jeffrey Epstein. Brand new book, The Invisible Coup, is a outline of how Mexico is infiltrating America for their own benefit. Here's a preview.
You know, in the early 2000s, illegals were having a hard time in the United States getting bank accounts, driver's licenses, because they didn't have any IDs. So the Mexican consulates in the United States just started issuing Mexican government IDs. And they went to places like San Francisco, where Willie Brown was the mayor, and other progressive cities. And they said, hey, we're offering these as IDs. These are like legitimate IDs. And that led the cities to tell the banks, you need to start accepting these as legitimate forms of ID. Congress never voted on that. The Bush administration, who was in office at the time, had no say in that. The Mexican government just started doing it. And that's really what we're seeing is this exertion of sovereignty, meaning, hey, you know what? We know there's a border there. Not only are we going to, encourage people to cross that border and go work in your country, we're going to actually start taking initiatives and enacting policies in your country that affect our people, and we don't really care what you say about it. So that's the reality of where we are today.
That's the reality. There's Peter Schweitzer, the invisible coup. Ivy and I sit and talk to him for an hour on Forgotten America. Again, those episodes drop Monday mornings at 9. Great thing to listen to when you're in the car. Great thing to listen to if you want to hear about something different that you're probably not going to hear anywhere else. All right? Forgotten America. That's episode number 4. Just getting started, but we're going to be picked up and distributed. That's good news. We'll tell you about that when it happens, but you'll be able to find us on iHeart and Apple and all those places. Good news. Back to the phone calls on a Free Speech, Free for All Friday in just a moment. All right, let's dive back in now, keeping an eye on your phone calls and your temperament around there. I've heard nobody say anything about Iran yet at all. Surprised, we're a week in now to this war. 6 American military personnel killed, but that was early on. The Iranians were ready to set Several missiles on their way to Israel here overnight, but Israel smashed 4 big rocket launchers, missile launchers, before they had a chance to get in the air. So we've got that. Seems the Kurds want to come in from Kurdistan. They're on the Iraqi-Iranian border. They're ready to get into the fight. They cannot stand the regime. Let's continue with the phone calls. Courtney is in South Carolina. Courtney, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Steve.
How are you?
So glad to speak with you. Just want to say, I'm going to be taking a road trip here, and I am worried about these commercial drivers that are not English speaking.
They have no place on our roads, that's for sure. I mean, we just saw the testimony in front of Congress again. Here they are. And I saw Tim Walz held to account for it. How on earth can we put people on the road? Now, the Trump administration just took the licenses away from over 500 truck driver schools, whatever they're called.
Yep.
Yeah, over 500 that were giving out licenses. Some of these schools were owned by the Somalians themselves in some places like Minnesota. Go figure there, Courtney. And so they're unleashing these people.
Scary.
Yeah, we saw that. We all saw the video of the 18-wheeler going the wrong way down the expressway. I mean, you're so bad at this, you can't even get on the right way of the freeway. It is frightening, isn't it?
It is frightening. I was driving down the road the other day, and a semi-trailer was coming down. He was all the way in the far left lane. Went all the way over to the right lane. One of the doors is flying open. Me and other drivers are beeping at him, trying to get his attention. He's just waving at us like we're not trying to say hi.
What an idiot. Yeah, it's frightening out there. Courtney, be safe, please. At certain states unleashing this on the rest of the country, but the federal government's cracking down. I mean, there's nobody running the asylum, it seems. Anyhow, let's go to Texas. Jack, how are you today?
I'm good, Steve, and you do some very important work for us, sir, and I thank you very much for that.
Appreciate
you do a great job. Steve, what I've got to mention goes along with what the last caller said with these illegal drivers on CDLs. And President Trump mentioned that in his State of the Union, the Delilah Act, but I don't think it goes far enough. Blue states are also issuing driver's license to illegal aliens. They don't speak. And cars are just as dangerous as the CDLs.
It's a great point.
If we pass federal legislation to ban all driver's licenses, CDLs, from illegal aliens, and it can only go to U.S. citizens, and tie federal highway funds to it, I think it knocks out 2 birds with 1 stone. It also adds to the
let me hold you up there, Jack. Let me hold you up there. You're right, because the motor voter laws, whoever thought that was going to be the way they snuck everything in. I don't like motor voter laws, because then people have driver's licenses and they can game the system. But as far as being a legal citizen to have a driver's license, we don't have to go that far, but you have to be in the country legally. Yeah, green card, work visa, whatever. If you're here and you're working for an American company, whatever it is, if you're here legally, you can apply for a driver's license, but you have to pass the same test I do. All right? Pretty simple. If you can't pass a driver's test, you don't get to drive on the road with me and my family. Pretty basic stuff. Great call, Jack. Really appreciate it. You're exactly right. We need to keep the roads safe. And here's something else. This drives me wild. If you have a DUI, and I don't care if you're here on a visa, a green card, or you're here illegally, you're out. If you have 1 DUI in your life, you cannot go to Canada. You can't. They will not admit you, and you can't rehabilitate it. Used to be you could, if you had a DUI back in the day, you'd pay them $200 in temporary bond and nonsense. No. If you get a DUI in this country, you're out. Period. No exceptions. Dale is in Colorado today. Dale, how are you?
Hey, good morning, Steve. I'm going to get right to the point. I'm a veteran, so understand why I say this. How about the select services? How many of our new neighbors that we have acquired have registered for the select services? Did you know it's a felony if you don't?
Well, that's an interesting point you make, Dale. It had never occurred to me. That's brilliant. Of course, you have to register for the draft, which we haven't had since the 1970s. But in the event that we needed it. You have to register. It's the law. That's a really great point, Dale. I wonder how many of our new friends.
I want to add to that,
neighbors.
Steve.
Go ahead.
I want to add to it, Steve. How about all these Chinese tourists, birth tourism, and then they go back to China, and then all of a sudden we have an American citizen that grew up in China. Did they register for the draft? And if they did, how did they do it?
Yeah, well, here's the thing, and this is a big problem. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. I haven't talked to it about this program. The Marianas Islands, one of the territories that the United States has sovereignty over. We've got Samoa, we've got the Marianas Islands, and so on and so forth. There's 5 of them. The Chinese nationals are pregnant Chinese nationals. The women are going to the Marianas Islands, giving birth, and then returning to China with their American birth certificate for their child. This is an abuse of the 14th Amendment like you've never seen before. There are 1 million babies in China now that have American citizenship that can return to this country when they're 18 or 20 years old with full citizenship, the ability to do anything they want, vote, get involved. Yeah, they're gaming the system, our system. That's why you can't have that, but the Democrats just blind to it or okay with it. Either way, it's wrong and dangerous. Good call, Dale. Really appreciate it. Smart stuff. Let's go to Steve in West Virginia. Steve, how are you today?
I'm well, Steve. God bless you and your crew.
Thank you.
I had an opinion. The Democrats, I believe, hate Donald Trump only second to them hating this country. They're upset because they picked on the only person that could fight them back and stay out of jail. And I just wish that they would learn to accept the loss and move on.
Lose with dignity. Sportsmanship.
Lose with dignity. You're right.
Lose with dignity. Yeah, you're exactly right. Steve, good call. You're exactly
They hate this country.
It's sad. But like I said yesterday on the program, and I've said other times, I'm old enough to remember when most Democrats were still Americans. Yeah, but I look at AOC and Ilhan Omar and Ro Khanna and some of these, Hakeem Jeffries, they hate this place. All right, let's get to Vincent in Pennsylvania. One more before the break. Vincent, how are you?
Good. How are you, Steve? Good morning. Great to talk to you. The one caller that you said about how did illegal immigrants are affecting these little communities?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little community. The crime rate is one way. Another way is speed limits is no longer a speed limit. That's just a suggestion.
Not good drivers, are they?
Signs, they can't read the sign. They don't stop. Doctors, forget it. You can't even go to see your doctor.
Can't get in.
The hospitals are overcrowded.
Yeah, that's right.
The wages. It brought down the working man wage from $1 from what was $25.
Vincent, the answer is this.
It's now below.
Thank you for the phone
20.
call. The answer is this. It affects us across the board. Small towns and big cities. We're correcting it, but it takes time. I'll take a break and be back. It's Free Speech, Free for All Friday on The Steve Gruber Show. Welcome back to the program. Glad to have you here. Look, we all have choices we make, how we spend our money and where we spend our money and who it's with. And wouldn't you like that to be with a company that you align with? Because that's important to me. We all have smartphones, but the way I spend my money is with Patriot Mobile. I have for years now. The service is great. But more importantly than that, it's a great company. Join me now, Scott Coburn, Chief Marketing Officer at Patriot Mobile. Scott, nice to see you again.
Always great to see you, Steve.
You know, it's a great company because you guys don't just talk the talk. You walk the walk. You get out there. You get involved. You help people out in crisis. You help Christian conservative causes. And that's really one of the things that attracts me to Patriot Mobile, probably as much as the great service. You do a lot of good things, don't you?
We do, Steve. And honestly, that's what we're called to do, right? I mean, yes, we're a great cell phone service provider, but you know this. Our mission has nothing to do with cell phones, and it has everything to do with just protecting our God-given rights and freedoms, helping people, and glorifying God. I mean, God is at the helm of our business. We try to live by biblical principles and be a model for other businesses what it looks like.
To do outreach and so forth. I mean, I know when there's disasters and so forth, Patriot Mobile will show up. You'll do a lot of great things. And this company continues to grow. I've been here along for the ride for quite a long time. I've been a Patriot Mobile customer for, 3 or 4 years now. And every step of the way, you get bigger. But 2026, another new year, you're reaching new audiences. I understand you have a new deal with NASCAR, in fact. Going to see the flag flying right there on the track, aren't we?
Yes, sir, Steve. We're excited about this one. And look, we know NASCAR people are our people. They love our country. They love freedom. They love the Lord. Anytime we have a chance to reach new people and new audiences, we want to be involved. And NASCAR gives us that opportunity. And we just signed a partnership with Richard Childress Racing and
wow.
Ty Dillon, the number 10 car. And I want to tell you, if you know anything about Richard, you know he loves his country. He loves our veterans, our first responders. That man does so much to support our veterans, and we want to be involved with that. And the driver that we've got, Ty Dillon, in the number 10 car, man, what a solid guy. Family man, loves the Lord. He's just one of us, loves our country, and we're just excited to partner with those guys and help spread the good news of Patriot Mobile and all the great things we're doing.
Yeah, and Childress Racing also loves to win. There is that part, Scott. It's nice to be in the winner's circle from time to time, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that'll help too. You know, if we can get a winner's circle here or there, or maybe lead a few laps with that Patriot Mobile car, it's all good.
All good. Another one of the relationships you've had is with Jason Aldean and his wife. I understand that you're going to be sponsoring that tour again this year.
We are, Steve. And look, we got to know Jason and Brittany fairly well last year through the tour, and this was a no-brainer for us. I mean, what they stand for, they love this country. They really want to see us, guys like us, out there in front of this whole thing and say, hey, how can we make a difference, right? I honestly can say I've never met anybody in the entertainment space like Jason and Brittany that truly care about helping people. About talking about being bold and talking about the issues. That's what they do, and that's why we're attracted to them, and we want to be a part of the tour. And this is just one more way that we can help reach other people that may want to hear about our mission and how they could join Patriot Mobile and be a part of that mission.
And you're different insofar as you use all three major companies to distribute your signals, right? So you have the best carriage anywhere of anybody. That's why it's premier cell phone service, premier smartphone services, because the way you operate the business, and it's all U.S. based, which means if when I call into the office, I get somebody I can actually understand, which is kind of a nice turn of events, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, Steve. And look, because we have access to all three of the major U.S. based networks, we truly have a better product than you can get with a single network carrier. I can put you on whatever network works best in your area, and I can put two separate lines on two separate networks on a single smartphone. That's something you just can't get with other companies. That's peace of mind, right? Knowing that when you're traveling about, or even if a network goes down, we saw, just a few weeks ago, the Verizon network was down for a little bit. You have peace of mind to know that you have that backup line on your phone with Patriot Mobile. This is something you can't get with other carriers, and what makes us truly different from a technology standpoint.
And as you continue to grow, there's something else I want people to be aware of, and that's for business folks out there that are listening. You have special programs and possibilities for those in the business community as well, don't you?
We do, Steve, and I know there's a lot of conservative business owners that listen to your program, and I want to talk specifically to them. Look, you can move your lines over to Patriot Mobile, whether you have 5 lines or 1,000 lines. You can move them over to Patriot Mobile. We make it easy. You're going to have the same access to all 3 networks, but you're also going to have access to a whole suite of business connectivity products and services that are going to help operate and power your business. We're talking mobile hotspots. We're talking asset tracking, mobile device management. All of this stuff that we have that you need to power your business, we have at Patriot Mobile, and we would love to talk to you about that as well.
And so we got a really big special here, one or the other. They're both great. If you get on board with Patriot Mobile, you can get a free phone. You heard me right, a free phone or a free month of service. Your choice, right? This is a pretty big offer.
This is, Steve, and look, we want to eliminate any barrier that people have of coming over to Patriot Mobile. We know a lot of the other big 3 companies are offering free phones. Well, we are too. When you come to Patriot Mobile, you can have your choice of a free phone, a free smartphone, Samsung A17, a very nice phone, or you can get a free month of service. We just want to make it easy for you to switch and give you some value while you're doing it. But most importantly, know that every time you pay your bill, you're going to be supporting faith, family, and freedom.
There you go. Scott Coburn, always appreciate you being here. Good luck with these big endeavors. It's going to be a big year, 2026, for Patriot Mobile. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. God bless you, brother.
God bless you. Now, if you want to take advantage of one of these great offers, go to patriotmobile.com/Gruber or call 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code Gruber for a free month of service or a free phone. That's right, a free smartphone right now. I've never heard an offer quite like this before. Again, patriotmobile.com/Gruber or call 972-PATRIOT. Again, use the promo code Gruber. I've used it. Ivy's used it for years. We swear by Patriot Mobile. So will you. I promise you. I'll take a break and be right back. It is The Steve Gruber Show.
Small businesses are vital to
All right, let's get right back to the phone calls on a Free Speech Free for All Friday. Your one job today is go to YouTube. Look up Steve Gruber. Watch the podcast or put it down for future reference. Become a subscriber. It's your one job today. We're growing that thing, and we're about to get massive national distribution, so that's going to be cool. Let's go to Don in Oklahoma. Don, how are you today?
Oh, I'm well. Steve?
Yes, sir.
My wife and I love Ivy and you.
Thank you.
And out of the greatest respect, I say she's a doll.
She is.
But, Steve, I want to brag on your advertisements, the Patriot Mobile, the wellness company. What an education. And also the Must line of wear. That's the greatest thing in the world, but you have to be careful of the children and the grandchildren. Somehow they want what I've got. They like my colors and different things better. And sometimes I lose them, Steve.
Well, I understand.
But it's excellent.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Yeah, it really is.
Trump has chosen our Senator, Mark Wayne Mullen, from Oklahoma. What a sweet guy. Here at this house and in Oklahoma, we never weaken on Trump. We have 100% confidence in the man. I'm 73. I feel like I could wrestle Superman, but I can't begin to keep up with that gentleman.
I agree with that.
Great hands.
And Mark Wayne Mullins, MMA championship fighter, so, careful with him, too. Don, great call. Thank you for the support. I truly appreciate it. Tammy from Ohio, I can get you in. I only got 45 seconds, Tammy, but go ahead. What's on your mind?
Yeah, there's, 300 or more million people in the United States?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a third vote for Biden. You have a third vote for Trump. What's going to happen with the other third? What's it going to take to make them care about this country?
Well, I think the answer is, Tammy, great call, great question. The midterms are coming up. Quick and decisive action in Iran. We can't stay there too long. It impacts independent voters. That's a fact. But it's all about, can you pay your mortgage? Can you afford food? Can you get a job in this country? Those are the things that the Trump administration is going to have to pivot to. More of your phone calls here on a Free Speech Free for All Friday coming up right after the break. This is the Steve Gruber Show.
From the heart of America, where hard work, freedom, and faith still define who we are. From the farms to the factories, from small towns to city streets, this is the fight for the soul of our nation.
We're watching Democrats attack democracy. Do not be fooled. Do not be fooled.
The grit, the greatness of the American spirit, all right here.
The left wanted power, not peace, but there's a resistance rising. A generation saying enough, enough. We've tried it their way, and it failed.
The Steve Gruber Show with your host, Steve Gruber, starts right now.
All right, let's lock and load, folks. We're going into another big hour here of the program, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom. And in deference to the godfather of talk radio, Rush Limbaugh, we do this every week. Free speech, free for all Friday. Three big things this hour. Number one, the CDC issuing a warning that a deadly strain of polio is circulating in at least 30 countries now. May impact spring break for some looking to head overseas. Number two, Senate Democrats have once again blocked funding for DHS, impacting the Coast Guard and TSA at a time of heightened threats to Americans here at home with the war in Iran. And number three, like I said, it's free speech, free for all Friday. Powered by the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline at 877-310-9966, 877-310-9966. All right, we're going to get into that. But first, Lee Zeldin from the EPA came out for you folks that are concerned about chemtrails. What are they? Why are they here? Why have they been going on? We get these calls a lot. I don't spend much time with them, but Lee Zeldin apparently has. Listen to this.
The enthusiasm for experiments that would pump pollutants into the high atmosphere has set off alarm bells here at the Trump EPA. Prior to now, EPA has never been this proactive to raise awareness about concerns with geoengineering and to stop this activity from being scaled up. This is what it looks like when government actually listens to the will of the people and doesn't try to squash it. You can always trust this administration and this EPA to take your concerns seriously.
Well, there you go. They're going to dig into it, folks. They're going to say they're going to publish everything and put it all out there for you to decide. Let's go back to the phone lines now. Dan in Michigan up first this hour. Dan, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Steve. Real quick, I'll get right into it here. You know, you talked about the motor voter thing and, you know, the SAVE Act, they're going all nuts about the female married voters. And there's a reason we're over-registered with female voters in 5 swing states. They're not removing the maiden married names. Found 4 people in 10 minutes with multiple registrations, Steve. People need to check them and get them removed.
So you found people that were, you think, voting under their maiden name and their married name?
I'm not saying they're voting, but they're on the dirty voter rolls.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And those voter rolls need to be cleaned up in Michigan, where you are, big important swing state, one of the big 7, and everywhere else as well. Good call, Dan. Thank you for that. Go ahead and check in your neighborhood, see what you can find out. Always send me an email, stevegruber.com, the place to do that. Pete is in Tennessee. Pete, what's on your mind?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First, I am all behind Trump and what he's doing. I see the big plan. But we have a big problem people are overlooking. France and England are about to fall to Muslims. I'm going to be blunt, especially France. They got nukes. If they vote themselves in and they're in charge of the whole country, then they will have access to those nukes. We need to tell Zelensky and Ukraine, make a deal so we can get that off the table, and we need to buddy up with Russia again like we did in World War II. I don't want to hear these people talking about Putin. I'm talking about Russia and their people. If we get a deal with them, because we're going to need them because they're closer to those folks than we are. And I hate to tell people, get a map. Paris and England are a hell of a lot closer to us than the Middle East, okay? Yeah. So pay attention to the whole big picture. That's what Trump's doing. This is, you know, these people better wake up and pay attention and quit with this little silly childish stuff that, well, Putin's a bad man. I don't care. If you need, now and then you need a bad guy on your side.
Yeah, you need a barbarian at the gate, Pete, which is what Trump is to a lot of people. He is restructuring the global alliances, that's for sure. demanding that NATO pay their fair share, has no interest in the G7 anymore either, by the way. But you're right about Russia and the Russian people. We are far closer aligned with the Russian people than we are with, well, a whole host of other folks on the planet. Look, Russia is, in effect, going to become a vassal state of China. There's only 150 million people in Russia, for those of you that don't know. And they're going to be the ones selling the most oil to China now, which means they're going to be on the hook to China and China to them. But they are not natural allies. Said it here many times. They are not natural allies. I would like the war in Ukraine to stop. Putin is not a good man. Zelensky, not a good man. I don't trust either one of them, to be honest with you. I don't trust either one. And I think we should be working as hard as we can to get that stopped. I believe Trump is. Let's go to Bob in Wichita, Kansas. Bob, how are you today?
Doing great. Good morning, Patriots. Mr. Gruber.
Sir.
For my adult life, I was a professional driver, obtained a CDL, and we were once known as the White Knights of the Highway. I had to prove that I could read, write, and speak English fluently and show a birth certificate in order to obtain that license. I spent my adult life pushing that diesel down that super slab, keeping the lifeblood of America going. And it just rips me up to see they're putting these cracker heads out on the road with CDLs.
Yeah, people that cannot read. People that cannot understand road signs. People that can't even answer 2 out of 10 questions. It's dangerous. We've seen it happen. Decapitations in that crash in Florida. Just horrible accident. Let's go to Barry in Texas. Barry, welcome to the program. Barry going once and twice.
Hello?
Hey, Barry, how are you? Are you there? You're on.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Well, I have this little issue about Ken Paxton and John Cornyn.
All right.
And it seems to be some little backyard deal going on here where they want to put they don't want to put Paxton in there. They want to make him go away and reelect that bum Cornyn. You know, they need to send him back to Louisville. And then secondly, if you want to do something good with Ken Paxton, you need to get rid of Bondi and put Ken Paxton in there.
Well,
now,
it's going to be one or the other. You can't do
know,
both. Can't do both, and I appreciate that. Very good call. Donald Trump has not endorsed in that race thus far. But Ken Paxton said he will drop out if John Cornyn will give a pledge to support the SAVE Act. Said it yesterday. Will he or will he not? I don't know. Let's go to Jimmy in Texas. Jimmy, we got about 45 seconds. What do you got for me?
Nope. Dave in Arizona.
Excuse
Dave
me,
in
Dave,
Arizona.
you got about 45 seconds. Arizona, go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Gruber. So I'm thankful for the great disruptor. That's what I labeled President Trump as he was coming back on the scene in 2024. And I pray that the legislative branch coup and the judicial branch coup can stop fighting against we the people. They're not fighting President Trump. They're fighting against you and I and all the patriots online. Love Open Line Fridays. Thank you, Mr. Gruber.
Thank you. Greatly appreciate it. We do it with respect to Rush Limbaugh. This part of the program brought to you by Great Lakes Pet Food. It is the best dog food you're ever going to own. Great Lakes Pet Food is what we feed our dogs here. Have for years. American-made dog food, not Chinese junk. GreatLakesPetFood.com. Made in America, made for your dog. It's part of the family, right? Of course he is. Or she. GreatLakesPetFood.com. Great supporter of this program and free speech, free for all Fridays. I'll be right back. Currently in California, you can't even offer an ID to cast a ballot in that state. No voter ID required. They've got more illegal aliens than any state in America. They've got the motor voter laws in place there and so forth. Well, guess what? That's going to change in November. Won't help us this time around, but it'll sure help in the future. The California Voter ID Initiative, it's going to be on the ballot. They needed 875,000 signatures. They got 1.4 million turned in. There is huge support for voter ID in California. And this is going to be Newsom against the world on voter ID in California. He's going to lose. The California Voter ID Initiative will be on the ballot. Those signatures turned in yesterday. It is a big deal. It means California might come back into the fold of honest elections, at least approach honest elections. It's good news. Shifting gears now, Tommy Aiello, Vice President of Government Affairs, the National Taxpayers Union, joining me. Tommy, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, so oil prices on the rise again today, $85 for WTI, West Texas Intermediate. For every $10 per barrel that oil goes up, it goes about 25 or 30 cents at the pump, which means prices are going to be up about 60 cents now, maybe a little bit higher in some places. Gas going up quickly following the war in Iran. It's going to pinch people, Tommy, and it's not going to be popular politically. Your thoughts?
I mean, I think the million-dollar question right now is how long this conflict in the Middle East goes on for. If it were to end tomorrow, I think you would see a sharp decline in oil prices just as quickly as they increased since the start of the year. But if it goes on for a couple of months, there could be much more pain ahead. And of course, no one wants to pay more for gasoline, myself included. But I think what we need to remember is gas was at a 5-year low just a couple of days ago. A 5-year low thanks to President Trump's America First energy policies. So yes, there might be a little short-term pain in the weeks and months ahead, but hopefully it's short-lived and we can get back to low gas prices.
Yeah, the national average today, $3.32 according to AAA. A week ago, it was $2.98. So the national average is up 34 cents. It's going to climb more. And a year ago, it was $3.11. And so that also pushes inflation. Today, as the jobs report is going to come out today, of course, and we'll get an idea of what jobs were like the last month. What are your thoughts on that, your expectations?
I think we're going to expect a positive jobs report. And I know we see all these headlines about AI hurting people's jobs, the economy slowing. I don't really see any evidence of that. AI, yes, it's going to be a game changer for the U.S. economy, but right now we haven't really seen the data to point that there's already widespread layoffs due to AI. I think the big thing that we've seen over the last year in these job reports is a decline in federal government jobs. Since President Trump took office, federal jobs are down by about 300,000. That's a lot of people that have murked the data a little bit. So yes, there's been so many jobs created in the private sector, but losing 300,000 jobs in about a year, that's a very big deal. And when we say these people are losing their jobs, they're losing their government jobs. That means they're able to go to the private economy, start a business, build a business, and contribute to what real Americans are doing on a daily basis. And that's actually moving the economy forward.
386,000, the total number so far, almost 400,000. Tommy, of people that have left the government. And look, I don't wish for anybody to lose their job, but the government is too big, too expensive, too bloated is the word you hear a lot. It's unhealthy for the American taxpayer, isn't it?
It is. I think that's why we find ourselves in a $39 trillion hole, a $39 trillion debt that we're all going to have to pay back eventually. So when the federal government gets so big and has all these workers, of course that there's going to be bloat in the system. It's going to mean we can't always allocate our tax dollars efficiently. Again, Joe Biden, he hired hundreds of thousands of new employees for the federal government. Donald Trump is laying them off so they can go find a real job in the private sector. That's great news for all of us. We should welcome that. Unfortunately, as always, Democrats want to stand in the way of that, and it's really to the detriment of American taxpayers.
Yeah, and the next concern, of course, we touched on at the beginning of the segment here, and I want you just to weigh in on it, is inflation, of course, because energy prices going up, even in the short term, will push inflation up in the short term as well, because energy impacts everything, the shipping, the cost of fertilizer, it's planting season around this country, all these things related to oil. Oil's up almost $20 a barrel. That means that the price of everything's going to go up for at least a period of time. Last word to you.
I think in the short term, prices are going to go up, but I don't think businesses are going to be making these large decisions to increase prices just over the past week. We haven't seen that in the data. It's going to take a little bit of time for that to actually impact consumers. Gas prices, yes. Everything else, not so much just yet.
Tommy Aiello of the National Taxpayers Union, always appreciated time. We'll watch for those numbers. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you very much. All right, are you tired of taking vitamins that don't seem to work? Protovite is a breakthrough liquid formula designed to absorb quickly so your body actually uses it, and that's so important. And when I say multivitamin, listen to what they've got. Over 100 nutrients, B vitamins, amino acids, zinc, plant extracts. You get daily support for energy, focus, immune health. It's all there. Only from Victory Nutrition International. It's nutrition that gets in. Start your mornings with Protovite and feel the difference we do. And you can get 20% off today when you subscribe. 20% off and free shipping forever for being a subscriber, getting a subscription to your vitamins. So easy. You're not choking down the pills anymore. It's what you need to do. Go to vni.life/Gruber, vni.life/Gruber. All right? There you have it. By the way, the House yesterday voted to open DHS. Kristi Noem was fired yesterday, but basically reassigned. Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma has been tapped to be the new DHS secretary. We'll see how that plays out. Of course, in Oklahoma, the governor there will appoint somebody to be the next senator from Oklahoma. He can do that within 30 days, so it'll happen quite quickly. Otherwise, it'd be a math problem, right? Because the Senate has 53 Republicans, now 52. If and when Markwayne Mullin gets confirmed by the United States Senate. Expect a dogfight on this because, well, Democrats will fight everything, always, every step of the way. In fact, Democrats yesterday in the Senate blocked the DHS funding after the House passed it, keeping the Coast Guard and TSA unfunded and unpaid. Makes not a lot of sense, but that's what they're doing. More phone calls on this Free Speech Free for All Friday in a moment. All right, it's Free Speech, Free for All Friday. With respect to the godfather of talk radio, Rush Limbaugh, who did Open Line Fridays, we do Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Let's get to John in Michigan today. John, how are you?
Hey, good morning, Steve. After that caller from Indiana called, I remembered the guy that called, or you talk about how Indiana's power cost them so much less than it does here in Michigan because of the way they've been treated down there.
That's right.
But how do we get somebody to change this commission that every time DTE or consumers comes and asks for more money, as soon as they get it, the next thing they do is that they turn around and start asking for more?
Yeah. You know, this is a problem all over the country, John. Not just here. Indiana is the odd man out, and in a good way. They're lowering the price of electricity in Indiana. They're not just keeping it lower, they're lowering it in the next few weeks. Remarkable, because they kept their eye on the ball. Up here, we were bulldozing and closing coal-fired power plants, but at least Whitmer came to her senses and is reopening the nuclear power plant. The Palisades plant is going to reopen first time ever, but you're right. These public service commissions here and everywhere else, but they're all monopolies. That's the problem we face, John. They're all monopolies. Every state has some sort of a power monopoly, and it's not good for the consumer. You're on the money on that one, John. Let's go to Dan in Tennessee. Dan, how are you?
Barely good. Hey, Steve, I wanted to talk about the America Save Act. It's my opinion that if that does not pass, we will not have a republic because no one's going to have faith in the system. And the other thing I want to say is there are too many people out there that are apathetic and complacent with what's going on. They're not paying attention. And there's a high percentage of people that call themselves Christians that don't vote. So I don't know how we're going to straighten this mess out if we don't have integrity in our voting system. And in my opinion, we have an apathetic, complacent population that in some cases is willfully ignorant of what's going on, or they've been totally misinformed by the media and
Far too
others.
true.
Your thoughts?
Dan, here are my thoughts. Two groups of people that don't vote enough. Christians and gun owners. Stay home and don't vote. What are you doing? Get off the couch. You've got 2 weeks to vote or 4 weeks, depending on where you live. Get it done. If you own a gun or if you go to church, you should be voting every single time. I'll be back. All right, let's jump right back into it with our friend and Congressman Tim Walberg from Michigan's 5th Congressional District. He joins me now. Congressman, nice to see you this morning.
Good to be with you.
A lot going on, to say the least. First of all, your assessment 1 week on of what's happening in Iran seems that it is going, well, as far as war goes, reasonably well, to say the least. We have lost 6 military members to a drone strike. Very sad. But I don't think I've ever seen a war after 7 days with 6 casualties, and not to diminish those that have given their life, but it certainly could have been a lot worse. What are your thoughts after a week?
Oh, absolutely. Those 6 we mourn, and it's a casualty of a combat situation that we always regret. But the mission is right, and it's amazing to think that other than those 6 that took place in a drone strike in Kuwait on one of our military bases, that again punctuates the point that Iran has been at war with us for 47 years now, and it has to end. And right now, everything, as far as I know and what I've been told, what I've heard in classified briefings that I can't talk about, but I can say that even our great military, who have finally been put in a position after 4 years of being woke, they are now back doing what they were trained to do, to be the most lethal fighting force in the entire world, to get in and to defeat the enemy in totality, and they're showing that they can do it. So we've been told and given very clear indications that this combat situation has gone well beyond what was expected, and the certainty of victory is all but secure.
Yeah. After Midnight Hammer last summer, the removal of Maduro from Venezuela here 8 or 9 weeks ago, and now this. Anybody who wondered about the capabilities of the United States military doesn't really have to wonder today, do they?
Not at all. Not at all. And I think what's even more important, and you touched on it, with what the world has seen, but more importantly, what China, Russia, North Korea have seen relative to our operations in Venezuela and our operations with Israel and the Abraham Accord countries that are joining and competing alongside of us against Iran and its forces. China has to worry. Russia has to worry. North Korea has to worry. And any thoughts about China going into Taiwan has to be taken with a little more salt, because of what they've seen take place so rapidly with such great power. And then I think, to encourage your viewers and listeners, we're not settling on what has been accomplished, with the president now meeting with arms contractors. And I think what he's going to tell them, 2 things. 1, ramp up your production capabilities, because we may need them. 2, cut your prices. We know that you've been ripping us off for too long with the cost of some of the armaments, and we've let that happen with weak leadership. And so we're going to expect you to be patriotic citizens, develop the most lethal armaments, and do it as quickly as you have ever done it, so that China will not have an ability to think our forces have been depleted because of what we're doing in Iran. No, we're ready to take you on as well if you do something stupid with Taiwan.
Yesterday, the House passed funding for DHS. It's been a partial government shutdown now for a number of days. Yeah. House passes it. Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats block it. So the Coast Guard remains unfunded. TSA remains unfunded. This is the most ridiculous shutdown I've seen to date.
Un-American. And let me call it that. I appreciate the speaker saying, well, we're going to pass it again. We passed it weeks ago to fund all of our national security forces that come in Homeland Security. Fortunately, we put funding in for ICE and Customs and Border back in the One Big Beautiful Bill. They're taken care of. But the rest of it, including our Coast Guard, our TSA, I walked through TSA lines last night at Reagan Airport to come back home. Thank them for standing in place, doing the job that they're expected to do, but not knowing that they're going to get paid. That's wrong. And Chuck Schumer should be held to account, and a Democrat in the Senate should be held to account for that. We passed the bill again yesterday. And as you said, the Senate stood in its way. Why? Why? What they wanted to achieve with ICE and Customs and Border there's nothing to achieve. We're funding them, but the rest of the services, FEMA, the Coast Guard, ought to be funded. So I hope that your listeners and viewers will contact all the senators, the Democrat senators especially, because they're the only ones that are standing in the way of doing what needs to be done for this country. And remember, it was the Democrat administration the last 4 years that allowed the terrorist cells to potentially, I believe, develop within our country that we will have to deal with all across this country. And who's going to deal with it? Homeland Security. That's where it's going to be. So fund it. If you consider yourself an American and believe in American ideals, stand up, do what's right, forget this politics of the moment, and pass the legislation.
I agree. Let's go on to something. Let's finish on an up note, shall we? You're trying to increase access to national parks. Some work you've been doing. So let's end on a positive note. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a simple bill that just codifies now what Doug Burgum and the Department of Interior have done in turning over what the Biden administration did. And I don't know why they did it. Why take fun away from people in our national parks, specifically motorcyclists, bicyclists? In the past, just like autos, you could bring a whole family in your car, 4, 6 people, whatever, and get into a national park to enjoy the beauties of what we have there on one pass. Cyclists used to be able to do the same with 2 motorcycles coming in. That would be at most 4 people into a park on one park pass. I've done that with my wife and have enjoyed the national parks. So we put through legislation that has passed now in the House that would give the opportunity for motorcyclists to join in that wonderful display of what's in our national parks by 2 motorcycles coming in or a group of cyclists coming in on one park pass to enjoy what we have. So hopefully the Senate will pass that soon. Be ready for the season that's coming up here, and people can experience the beauty of what America is behind the gates of our national parks.
Coming quickly, the temperatures are going to be in Michigan this weekend. I see we're going to see 60, maybe even warmer. So there it is. Congressman, thank you as always.
Thanks for having me, and let's support America, and let's believe in America and support its troops and pray that what's going on in Iran right now will stand us in good stead for a future long and enduring.
There you go. Congressman Tim Walberg, always a pleasure, sir. Have a great weekend. We'll talk soon. Now, if you deal with knee pain, joint pain, or stiffness, especially when you're driving or sitting for long stretches, listen to this. You can't take a medical treatment bed with you on the road, but you can keep a QE red light therapy wand right in the glove box. A handheld device that uses red and infrared light combined with proprietary quantum energy technology to target pain right where it hurts. No pills, no appointments, just simple targeted relief you can use anytime. It's portable, easy to use, and you just use it for minutes a day. And it's inexpensive. Go to QEstrong.com. Use the promo code Gruber. Get the QE wand for under $100. That's right, QEstrong.com. Promo code Gruber. You can get this portable red light wand for less than $100. You can't beat that, not even with a stick. Yeah, take that, Anthony. I'll take a break and be right back. It's Free Speech, Free for All Friday. All right, it is Free Speech, Free for All Friday. And love having you here as we talk about all the topics that are top of mind for you. Of course, the economy impacted certainly by what's happening in Iran. Gas will be up dramatically. It will be 50, 60 cents a gallon in the short term. And if the war is short-lived, then hopefully we'll return to normal within a few weeks. We've got Calvin on the line in South Carolina. Calvin, how are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm well. What's on your mind?
Well, I was disturbed. I was watching bowling the other day, and on the changeover between his show and the War Room, MS Now had about a 10-minute blurb between the shows.
Yeah, I don't have any control over that. Yeah, I have no control over that. And just so people understand.
How can they do that, though? How can they? It was all propaganda.
Well, it's not. Just understand, let me explain broadcast. These delivery networks, whatever it might be, I don't know where you're watching, but the network, like Real America's Voice or even MS Now, do not have control over the breaks run by the distributor. They can run whatever they want, and we get complaints about that sometimes, but we have no control over that. We control the commercials that are in the content of this program, and then those that deliver, the ones that put the program out to the masses, they can sell advertising to whomever they want, and there's the disconnect. So I hope that helps explain it for you, Calvin.
Well, it does. Yeah, I just was concerned because my wife was saying, "Why are you watching this propaganda?"
Well, tell her it's not our fault. Tell her you love her, and it's not our fault, and we're doing the best we can. Calvin, thank you for the phone call. Greatly appreciate it. Let's go to Jack in Toledo. He's been contributing here as a caller for a long time. Jack, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. What's on your mind?
Hey, I want to talk about the economy, of course.
Yeah.
I want to address the comment that was made about government jobs dropping. It's true at the federal level. At the state level, they've been rising. And the total government jobs levels have been rising for years and years and years. So,
well, that's true in
don't
Michigan.
be
I can assure
if,
you that's certainly true in Michigan. You're exactly right. I don't know about the other 49 states, but I know what's going on here. You're right. Go on.
And with regard to the inflation number, I don't know 100% if the current spike in prices will be captured in this upcoming CPI report. It might be the next one. It depends upon the collection date. Now, the jobs report today, there are two data sets that are used. One measures full-time, part-time jobs and unemployment and the workforce population. It's very possible that we will see a spike in full-time jobs, a spike in part-time jobs, and even a spike in unemployment.
Now, why do you say that?
It's just the way February works. Now, the headline number comes from the establishment data.
All right.
And we've had a slowing economy for 2 years. It sort of, this growth bottomed out at the end of last year, around October.
All right.
And it's gradually heating up. I think we're going to see an increase in all job sectors except possibly IT.
All right, so here's my
We're
question.
going to see a huge uptake. We're going to see a huge uptake in education and health services.
All right, but here's my question. Why would you see a spike in unemployment along with a big spike in job numbers if that is what happens?
Well, you have people who lost jobs back in January because of the Scrooge layoff that happens every January.
All right.
And due to the timing of when they're able to apply for unemployment benefits if they are eligible, it's just hitting this report now. So that's one thing.
Okay.
Full-time jobs have gone up under President Trump since his first term in office. He was changing out part-time jobs for full-time jobs. That's one of the reasons why no one was really getting it. But he was doing something the opposite of what President Obama did, where during the Great Recession, we lost full-time jobs and added a fractional amount of part-time jobs to replace some of them.
Right.
And it's
So
just very possible.
let me ask you this overall, because I got to jump here, but overall, are you optimistic looking down the road, especially if the Iran war does not last and does not get protracted? Are you optimistic? Real quick.
I'm very optimistic. Today, I think we should see a number around 400,000 workers added.
All right.
That's for the private sector. Now, what happens with the government jobs? That's anyone's guess. If the federal jobs number keeps dropping, it might bring down the overall non-farm payroll number.
We'll have to keep an eye on it.
But private sector is looking really good.
All right, Jack, greatly appreciate you as always. Thank you for your numbers. He's been helping with my numbers for quite some time. Now, the big medical hack of 2025 was several peer-reviewed studies identifying the direct connections between anti-parasitic medications having off-label benefits fighting a wide variety of cancers as well. And this makes sense. The connection between tumor growth and parasites has been known for years. While the CDC remains silent, they have admitted that millions of Americans suffer from parasitic infections that often go undetected and undiagnosed. That's why Dr. Peter McCullough and his team at the Wellness Company, the world's most published cardiologist, these studies make a clear case to at least one medical-grade parasite cleanse annually, he says. The Wellness Company's proprietary USA compounded ivermectin and mebendazole is a doctor-prescribed gold standard combination dose designed to help the body eliminate parasites plus many other benefits. Each bottle contains 90 capsules, enough for 4 complete 21-day cleanses. The high-strength formula cannot be found at your pharmacy, but the Wellness Company removes the red tape by making the process fully digital. Take a quick intake form, a doctor reviews it, and then it's time to get off to your new year in a good way. TWC.health/Gruber. TWC.health/Gruber. You'll save $60 and get free shipping. TWC.health/Gruber. Promo code Gruber. Free shipping, $60 off right now. Bush, here he is.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. There were 9 games in the NBA last night. Winners included Miami, Chicago, San Antonio, and Golden State. In men's college basketball, just 2 top 25 games. Third-ranked Michigan won at Iowa 71-68, and eighth-ranked Michigan State survived at home over Rutgers 91-87. In women's college basketball, 7th-ranked Oklahoma and 11th-ranked Ohio State both won, but 14th-ranked Maryland and 18th-ranked Michigan State both lost. 8 games in the NHL last night. Winners included Buffalo, Columbus, Winnipeg, and Los Angeles. At the World Baseball Classic, Australia beat Czechia 5-1. The United States plays Brazil tonight in Houston in their opening game of the tournament. And at the Arnold Palmer Invitational in Florida, Daniel Berger shot a 9-under par 63 to take the first-round lead by 3 shots over Colin Morikawa and Ludwig Oberg. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
All right, thank you, Brock, for that. Remember the brand new episode of Forgotten America, the podcast with me and Ivy. They drop Monday mornings at 9. We have the author, Peter Schweitzer, best-selling author, talking about what Mexico is doing to impact America. Here's a preview.
There's a guy, Alejandro Robles, who serves in the Mexican Congress, apparently lives in Ontario, California. But in 2025, he was going across the United States, in his own words, quote, organizing the militancy, end quote, against the Trump administration. So he was meeting at places like People's Forum with Antifa-type supporters. He was trying to get migrants politically active in the United States, legal and illegal. He wanted them out protesting on the streets. So these are hardcore activists. One of them, a senator, Senator Ruiz, she lives in Arizona, has introduced legislation to make Mexicans in California a state of Mexico. So this is all going on. We're not paying attention. We think of Mexico as kind of hapless, just kind of a neighbor that's kind of troubled. But I think the facts are far different.
Yeah, the facts are far different. Peter Schweitzer, he's the next episode of Forgotten America. Again, all you need to do is go to YouTube, look up Steve Gruber, become a subscriber. Do it today. This is the best free entertainment you're going to get anywhere today. Soon being broadcast nationwide. Forgotten America with me and Ivy. Monday mornings at 9. Peter Schweitzer coming up on Monday morning, so make sure you are subscribed to YouTube. I'll take a break and continue with Free Speech, Free for All Friday in a moment.
From the heart of America, where hard work, freedom, and faith still define who we are. From the farms to the factories, from small towns to city streets, this is the fight for the soul of our nation.
We're watching Democrats attack democracy. Do not be fooled. Do not be fooled.
The grit, the greatness of the American spirit, all right here.
The left wanted power, not peace, but there's a resistance rising. A generation saying enough, enough. We've tried it their way, and it failed.
The Steve Gruber Show with your host, Steve Gruber, starts right now.
Ah, yes. Lighting the fuse, another big hour here. The Steve Gruber Show on a beautiful Friday. It's going to be great weather across this region, I'll tell you that. We're fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom, and on Fridays we give reverence to the godfather of talk radio, Rush Limbaugh, by opening up the phone lines. We'll get to that. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, a pro-Israel watchdog group says Muslim attacks on the U.S. could be on the rise. That's coming out of Dearborn, Michigan. Number two, an expert warns that radical Islamist networks could be moving here to the United States because of the loss in Iran. And number three, free speech, free for all Friday, like I said. It's your chance to join the program if you are so inclined. 877-310-9966. 877-310-9966. Love to hear from you. Anywhere in America. It's toll-free on the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. Patriot Mobile, a great partner for years now. Now, also on Friday, I take a look back at, the dumbest things I've seen all week or heard all week. And this week, we've got two from the same guy. James Tellerico. He's a member of the state legislature in Texas, but he just won the primary to be the candidate for senator from the state of Texas. He's going to face either Ken Paxton, the attorney general, or John Cornyn, the incumbent senator from Texas. They're in a runoff election. Now, Paxton was supposed to win this thing, according to all the polling, but yet Cornyn came out on top. Now, Cornyn outspent him 20-1, spent piles of money, came out on top. I don't really care who wins the Texas race. Some people are going to say, why is that? We want Paxton. Well, Cornyn's not great. I'll give you that. But if it was Cornyn or Tellerico, it's no contest. How do I know? Because it's the dumbest thing I've heard all week. Here's James Tellerico, bite number one.
Before we go further, I want to acknowledge that our trans community needs abortion care too. Defending trans Texans is something we have to do every day at the state capitol. And you better believe I'll be giving sermons on that too. So when I use the word woman, it should not be understood as an exhaustive term, but rather as a lens through which to understand, examine, and interrogate patriarchy. Similar to how we specify anti-black racism when
I have no idea what he's talking about. He pretends to be a minister, a Christian. I don't get that. In fact, James Tellerico has a very strange take on what it means to be a Christian. Here's another example of the dumbest thing I've heard all week.
For me, prophetic voices like Jesus have helped me reckon with my own whiteness, my own masculinity, my own certainty, my own ego. It's a never-ending process, and it's a painful process. For me, prophetic voices like Jesus have helped me reckon with my own whiteness, my own masculinity, my own certainty, my own ego. It's a never-ending process, and it's a painful process.
So, Anthony, if I'm hearing this right, get Anthony to weigh in on this. He's got voices in his head. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah. Well, he didn't say Jesus. He said prophetic voices like Jesus. So it's voices that, I don't know, the way I took that was...
Yeah, so he's just got voices in his head.
I thought he said pathetic, not prophetic.
Oh, no, he said prophetic, but still.
Okay, good. I was going to say.
Jeez. This guy, he's concerned about abortions in the trans community. He says that God is clearly non-binary and that prophetic voices like Jesus are in his head.
Sounds schizophrenic.
Yeah, and then he said that the southern border of America should have a big welcome mat. How do you think that plays in Texas? I don't think that plays well in Texas. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but I don't think so. I think that he is slick, though. And he should be taken seriously, not dismissed. He should be taken very seriously. Can you imagine that guy being a senator for the state of Texas?
He just won something? He
won the primary.
Over, was it Jasmine Crockett?
Yeah.
Wow.
How bad is she to lose to that guy? Pretty funny, right? All right, so here, the next dumbest thing. Bill Clinton, we haven't spent much time on this, but Nancy Mace put him on the spot. The tapes were released earlier this week of Bill and Hillary testifying about the Epstein ordeal and the Epstein files and the relationship to that convicted pedophile child trafficker, right? And Bill Clinton was asked about whether he likes them young because that was in an email. And he tried to deny it, but then Nancy Mace gets him to admit that he likes them young. Oh, dumbest thing I've heard all week. Here it is.
The witnesses who testified in the Epstein cases that Epstein said, you quote, like them young. Why would Epstein say that about you?
Are you asking his opinion? You're asking him to think about why Mr. Epstein would say something about him?
Why would Epstein say that
So
about
she's
the
asking you
president?
to try to be in Mr. Epstein's mind and guess at what Mr. Epstein would have thought about.
Clinton likes them young, referring to girls.
First of all, that's not true.
What's not true?
That I have any interest in underage.
I didn't say underage. I said young.
But it's still not true.
Is an intern young?
Yes.
Okay.
At my age, anybody younger than I am.
Did you
is
know
young.
Jeffrey Epstein instructed a witness to deny you were ever on his island?
He didn't have to since I was never there.
Did you ever travel to Zorro Ranch?
Is that the one in New Mexico?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Have you ever flown on anyone else's private jet 26 times or more for overseas trips?
I have flown as many miles on other jets, but never with as many stops.
How many other people's planes have you used, like Epstein 26 times or miles, etc.?
I don't know. I did.
Man, his health is not good. But anyhow, is an intern young? Yes. Oh, so you do like him young. I mean, this is so pathetic. And it was pathetic. There's your pathetic part, Brock, right there, listening to that. And those of you watching the video, his hand is shaking like California in a 9.0 magnitude earthquake. I mean, he's got health problems. He can barely hold his coffee cup.
I don't need to see it. I can hear it.
It's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't sound very well.
No, he looks worse.
And he didn't need to tell Representative Mace that he likes younger women. We kind of already knew that.
Right, but it's interesting for her to get him to admit it. Yeah.
Who wins in a fist fight, Bill Clinton or Joe Biden?
Oh, boy. At this state, I don't know. Either one of them could make it could stand up out of the corner. And you're the greatest. No, you're the greatest. Can I look at those pictures again? Ooh. I mean, he was looking at the pictures longingly, smiling. His attorney took the pictures away when they presented pictures in the testimony. He took them back. Let me see that again. Good Lord. Anyhow, Dulan's a good-looking man. He's up next, I'll tell you that. All right, we're gonna join the best-looking, most accomplished, most talented attorney in the world of attorneys ever, Steve Dulan. Everybody, just bring the round of applause up. Bring him in. I mean, it's just a monumental day. Dulan, there you are. You see that?
Thank you very much. Thanks, Gruber.
Dulan admitted in the break he was out watching an Elvis Presley movie into the wee hours of the morning, celebrating with the children. He said this movie's good. It's called Epic. I had to look it up. $14 million won the box office for the last couple of days.
Yeah, it was. It reminded me why Elvis was and still is such a huge star. It was all concert footage from the prime Elvis period in the early 70s, and really just a great reminder for me and for my daughter. It was really a moving experience. She really enjoyed it.
I reflected on that. You know, when I mentioned this in the break, but I'll say it here. When he died, and I think it was August of 77, 42 years old, as I recall, my mother wept. My mother was just shaken by that. So, you know, people really, they loved him. Absolutely loved him. So there it is.
Absolutely.
Let's go on to something more serious here. A Georgia father, the latest parent to be convicted when a child is accused of gun violence. This case, he gave his son a gun linked to a shooting at a Georgia high school. Killed 2 kids and 2 teachers, apparently. I mean, we saw this in Michigan. Parents giving a gun to a 15-year-old that they knew was not altogether balanced. I'll just be polite about the terms here. It's a family show. The kid was screwed up. What do you make of these cases? Look, I don't like red flag laws, but I think if you knowingly give a firearm to somebody who is unbalanced, you got some culpability there, and clearly the courts feel the same way. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the charges vary across these cases, but they all have some kind of an element of negligence or gross negligence. And of course, negligent homicide is a crime. If I knowingly take a risk and I endanger your life, and there's a high risk of your death or great bodily harm, then I am at fault, whether it's going 150 miles an hour down a residential street in my car, or it's handing a gun to somebody who's clearly inebriated, or it's handing a gun to anybody, child or adult, who is homicidal, suicidal. It'd be the same as handing anything dangerous. You know, if I give the car keys to a drunk person and that person goes out and crashes into your car, and you end up dead, I'm going to have a problem with a potential criminal charge. So this is not that radical. This isn't, as it's being characterized by some folks on my side of the debate, this isn't just charging any parent who teaches his child to shoot. This is charging a parent, and the prosecution has to show that the parent had some awareness that this child was disturbed and likely to do something harmful with that gun. And so it's not a great departure from years and centuries of law.
Yeah. I'm going to digress a little bit here. I don't know if you saw this video. We've talked about here on the program. This federal judge pulled over for drunk driving. You mentioned drunk. It just made me think about it. U.S. District Judge Thomas Ludington pulled over October 2025, Northern Michigan. He's a federal judge appointed in 2006. He was driving down the road. He had sideswiped a bunch of mailboxes, I think it was. The whole side of his Cadillac is trashed, ruined. All the side curtain airbags are down, the front curtain airbags down. He drove for 1.5 miles and tried to claim he was sober.
Allegedly.
Allegedly sober, yeah. He blew super drunk. He kept trying to game the system. The state police, they knew who he was. They were not giving him a pass on this. So I guess there is equal justice sometimes, Steve, sometimes.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's true. I don't know that he's been convicted yet, so I'm sticking with allegedly.
Right.
And was allegedly drunk. But yeah, we did see the video online, of course, those of us who were interested. Yeah.
All right, one more thing before we go here today, and that is Senator Mike Lee of Utah has introduced federal legislation for constitutional carry. It's also been introduced in Michigan, constitutional carry, meaning that if you're not otherwise prohibited from having a concealed handgun, you can carry, unless you're a convicted felon or you have some reason you can't, you're an illegal alien or can't have a gun, whatever the reason might be. I don't know if it has much chance at the federal level, but it is interesting that it's being introduced, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is, and it's really interesting to my law students also because they learn about federalism and how the states have sovereignty and the states have the police power to regulate for health, safety, welfare, and morals of the community, and the federal government only has enumerated powers that come from the Constitution, and so the question is. Will a national constitutional carry law, if it were ever to pass, which I don't think it will this time around, but if it were to pass, would it survive the judicial system, the Supreme Court's weighing in on it? Because this is normally.
Well, that brings me to the next question, and we only have about 30 seconds here. But reciprocity. Usually, if a law is passed in Michigan, that law would apply, freedom would apply, if you will, to going to other states. But I cannot drive into Illinois with a handgun. I can drive into Ohio and Indiana and so forth. We got 30 seconds. Last word.
Well, same thing with gay marriage, right? We had a split of states on that issue, and it took a Supreme Court case to create a unified rule across the United States. So, even if this bill does manage to go through bicameralism and presentment and become law, it's still going to the Supreme Court.
Well, I don't expect it to pass either. It would take 60 votes, and unless we kill the filibuster, which should be done, then it won't go anywhere. Dulan, the most accomplished, most talented, best-looking, that's the part I like the best, best-looking attorney in the history of attorneys, Steve Dulan, everybody.
Thanks, Gruber.
Have a lovely weekend. There you go. And he says go see the movie Epic. He says it's epic. I'll be right back on a Free Speech, Free for All Friday. All right, from my news company, MichiganNewsSource.com, comes this headline. Pro-Israel watchdog group tracks more inflammatory Muslim attacks on the U.S. Dateline Dearborn, a pro-Israel watchdog organization, spotlighted controversial inflammatory comments from Islamic leaders coming out of the Dearborn area in the wake of the U.S. attack on Iran that killed its ruler, Ayatollah Khamenei. The videos included Dearborn-based journalist Zainab Wrights called the U.S. and Israel the most wicked executioners of our time. Wrights is the editor-in-chief of the Dearborn-based TMJ News Network. Wrights called Khamenei the most honorable Muslim leaders of our time. Muslim poet and lawyer Hassan Salameh stated that the Statue of Liberty is Lucifer, the demonic bearer holding a torch of light. Salameh also said that Americans live on stolen land that is controlled by devil-worshipping Freemasons. Oh, boy. Memory stated the video was taken at a March 1 memorial service at the Hadai Institute. Hassan Salameh is the son of Sam Salameh, chief judge, get this, of the 19th District Court in Dearborn. What's that make you think? Muhammad Ali El-Ahai, Imam of the Islamic House of Wisdom, said at a February 28th event at the mosque that the forces that killed Khamenei were the most wretched hands on earth. Well, that's why there's increased concern about the pro-Israel watchdog group tracking the inflammatory Muslim attacks on the United States. There you have it. You can find out more at MichiganNewsSource.com, MichiganNewsSource.com, always tracking the big stories in the state of Michigan for you. So you're up to date and up to speed on everything that matters the most, all right? Everything that matters the most. When we come back, we're going to be talking about fraud. We've seen it all in Minnesota, of course. $19 billion, the last number. Tim Walz could not answer the questions, the governor of Minnesota, about the fraud. They spent $1 million on autism in 2017, did the state of Minnesota. By 2024, that was up to $323 million. Remarkable. From $1 million to $323 million in 7 years. Walz couldn't answer any of the questions. We're going to ask about what does it mean here in Michigan and other states. We'll talk about that after the break right here on the Steve Gruber Show. All right, well, my next guest is Jordan Rasmussen. He's a senator in the state of Minnesota, state senator. And I bring him on because we've been watching this fraud unfold in Minnesota. It is absolutely mind-boggling. The numbers keep growing as to how much money has been stolen from the state of Minnesota. If you heard the hearing, I just mentioned this, $1 million spent on on the children with autism, $1 million in 2017, $323 million by 2024. It's really remarkable. Jordan, thank you for being here.
Great to be with you, Steve.
I mean, and the governor had no explanation at all. He just, I mean, first of all, his hair, he looked like he had just come out of a windstorm, and maybe he had, but it's an embarrassment for your state, isn't it?
Minnesotans are outraged that the Tim Walz administration has let billions of their hard-earned tax dollars go to fund criminal networks. And these dollars were supposed to go to kids with autism, hungry kids during COVID, to Minnesotans who rely on these services, but instead they went to criminals. And unfortunately, Tim Walz can't accept responsibility, and his Department of Human Services here in Minnesota still denies that we have a fraud problem.
Hard to deny it when it's just so obvious. The amount of money stolen is jaw-dropping. $323 million, up from $1 million in a short period of time. I mean, he can't explain it. He's unaware of it. Says, I won't be a prop for you, he says to Nancy Mace during the hearings. I mean, it's how do you fix the problem is the question.
Well, what we need to do is have strong program integrity measures across all state government programs. Senate Republicans, House Republicans have proposed a strong Office of Inspector General that would be independent and have law enforcement authority so that we have watchdogs over these agencies that have failed taxpayers time and time again.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Politically speaking, you say Minnesotans are mad as hell. They should be. I mean, how much money has been flamed in Minnesota? How much of that money ended up back in Somalia? I mean, it was being shipped out of the country in the form of cash, money transfers, everything. And you've got an unemployment rate a public assistance rate of better than 80% of those of Somali descent in Minneapolis, for example. The political atmosphere is what, sir?
I think I'll give you an example of how bad it got during this fraud crisis. In one of the communities that I represent that only has a population of 2,500 people, there was a man arrested by the feds who was claiming to feed 6,000 kids a day, 7 days a week in a community of just 2,500 people. The Walz administration paid him millions, even though he provided no meals to kids. And these are the types of stories that Minnesotans are hearing week after week, and they're fed up. And they know that in order for us to end this fraud crisis and hold those responsible to account, we need new leadership.
Well, anybody hold them to account. Amy Klobuchar is running for governor, right? So the way I see this, it likely opens up not one, but two Senate seats in the U.S. Senate from the state of Minnesota. Is there a chance that a Republican could claim one of those seats at least?
You know, this fraud crisis forced Tim Walz to abandon his aspiration to run for a third term. However, if we have Amy Klobuchar in the governor's seat, a lot of those officials and in those agencies are going to remain the same. And we have had a Democrat governor here in Minnesota for 14 years. We need to have a real change, real accountability in that office to stop the fraud.
So again, those U.S. Senate seats. I don't think Minnesota has sent a Republican there since 2006, if memory serves. It's been a long time, right?
Our last Republican was, U.S. Senator Norm Coleman in the U.S. Senate.
And he lost an election where they magically found a bunch of ballots in the trunk of a car. How convenient. And he lost the trunk of the car scandal in Minnesota, which was BS. We all knew it then. We all know it now. Can Minnesota send a Republican to Washington in the U.S. Senate? Is there a candidate that you think can get it done?
I think there's a number of strong Republican candidates running for governor and for the U.S. Senate. And I think the political dynamic is unique here in Minnesota because of this fraud crisis. Everyone is talking about it. It's very clear that the Walz administration and legislative Democrats allowed this to happen. And Minnesotans want to get our state back on the right track and stop being subject to these national embarrassments.
Yeah, I would say that's true. I mean, because I would guess that town of 2,500, that 6,000 kids were being fed and taken care of. And that's just one easy example that you put forward. This was happening in Minneapolis on a grand scale, but it was happening all over the state, wasn't it? And it's not just autism, it's food banks and Leering centers and all of this, right?
Even the Walz administration has admitted that there are at least 14 programs that have been subject to large-scale fraud and that are high risk of tax dollars going to criminals. And so that shows that this wasn't just one program, it wasn't just one agency. It's a problem that the Walz administration had across their entire administration.
You know, I saw this Ilhan Omar being attacked by her own Democratic Party now. James Carville saying, please leave the Democrat Party. You're a political liability. Now, she'll win in her district because of the way it's set up, right? But he sees her, James Carville, longtime Clinton associate, longtime loud Democrat, the Raging Cajun, whatever you want to call him. And I've got a few other names, but it's a family show. If he's saying that she's a political liability because she is, I think things could change in Minnesota. I really feel like this could be the year that Minnesota finally votes more red than blue. Your thoughts?
I agree. And I think Minnesotans have seen just how radical the Democratic Party here in Minnesota has become, with people like Ilhan Omar leading the charge. And we have Democrats in Minnesota that are advocating for sanctuary policies across the state that would leave violent, criminal, illegal aliens here in Minnesota. And we also have Democrats who voted to give free taxpayer funding to illegal immigrants to buy health care, to buy housing for them. And so they were offering more generous benefits to illegal immigrants than what most Minnesotans have. Minnesotans who work every day to earn a living, to pay taxes, they're outraged that Minnesota Democrats are putting illegal immigrants ahead of them.
Yeah. So does it turn the tide? I mean, I know I keep asking the same question, but I'm trying to get a gauge of what it means. Will Democrats stick together, or are Democrats in Minnesota saying, I can't believe this is my party? Last word to you.
Well, at the Minnesota legislative level, we are very close as possible. In the House, the Republicans and Democrats are tied. And in the Senate, the Democrats just have a one-vote majority. So it's going to be a very competitive election cycle, and Minnesotans are going to have a choice. Do they want the failures of the Tim Walz administration to continue, or do they want common sense reforms that will get our state back on the right track?
Well, we're going to find out, sir. I appreciate you coming on, Jordan. It's a really important topic, not only in Minnesota, but across the country, because this fraud, sadly, is not unique to Minnesota. It's the first place that the curtain was ripped back, but these problems exist elsewhere as well. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Really appreciate it. Jordan Rasmussen, he serves Minnesota 9 in the state Senate, so there you have it. It's really an opportunity for the Republicans. 2 open Senate seats in a state that's in complete upheaval. Could they send 2? Wouldn't that be the November miracle? 2 Republican senators from Minnesota. That would be the Republican miracle for November. We'll see. I'll take a break and be right back. It is the Steve Gruber Show. Ivy is on the way. All right, a little bit of breaking news for you as we roll in to talking to Ivy here in a moment. The jobs number is out. It's not a good one. The economy lost 92,000 jobs, but that's in part because of a strike in the healthcare sector. But we were expected to add about 59,000. They report a loss of 92,000 jobs last month. We'll keep an eye on it. Unemployment at 4.4%, about where it's been for a long time. Ivy's now in the room. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning. So are there numbers that specify if we've lost that many jobs, how many of those were actually the healthcare workers on strike?
Well, we'll get that, and we'll also get the federal government continues to shed jobs. So I don't know what the private sector jobs number was compared to the public sector job. That's also an important metric. We'll get to that as it gets broken down. I don't have that yet.
Right. I would think that a king would continue to increase the numbers of government workers.
Yeah, they're down, let's see, 386,000 government jobs in the federal government eliminated in Donald Trump's first year in office. So almost 400,000 jobs there that are no longer there. So that's a big part of the picture. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think they'll continue to shrink the government, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
So as you know, on Fridays, I love to talk about the dumbest thing I've heard all week, and there's a couple of them.
All right.
So here is the current Undersecretary, Sarah Rogers. She's speaking to Representative Brian Mass, and I want you to hear that. Go ahead, Anthony.
What is queering the map?
So I think we were trying to make the maps more gay.
Literally? How do you make a map more gay?
I mean, especially
or
with
gay
AI,
at all?
you know, since the age of cartography, we've had pretty good maps, but maybe they weren't gay enough. So I know also, I took critical theory in college. I think sometimes people use queer as a verb. I do understand that the maps that we were trying to make gay were, I think, of Czechia and Slovakia. So maybe those countries asked for it. I doubt it, but I don't know.
We do have real things to work on in Congress, like what's going on with the imminent threat of Iran, and it is embarrassing that we have to talk about the fact that things like this were funded. Non-binary and trans francophones, linguistic attitudes and ideologies towards inclusive French in Montreal, Canada, these things. I'm going to give you a list. My time has expired. I'm going to give you a list of these. And any of these
how is that? What is she talking about?
Under the Biden administration.
All right.
They were redrawing maps and labeling maps.
Redrawing what maps?
Maps of the world. And they made the maps, attempted to make the maps more gay.
What is that? What does that even mean?
Exactly. And she goes on to say, Czechoslovakia or Slovakia are great countries. I'm sorry that my predecessors queered your maps. This is why future public diplomacy grants will be streamlined, accountable, and channeled toward real American interests. So they actually gave a grant for someone to redo these maps.
To make them gay.
To make them gay.
Whatever that means.
Like what?
Right.
I mean, how much money? They didn't specify how much money was spent on this. But I'm sure it was like, $5 million or something ridiculous.
So let me, I'll take a map and color a rainbow flag on it. Give me $5 million. There, I did it.
Boom.
Mission accomplished.
New non-government organization.
It's just mind-boggling.
Isn't that completely dumb?
Yeah, completely dumb.
Oh my gosh, I know. And I know you've been talking about James Tallarico.
No, he's a piece of work.
So here's a little summary of his beliefs. Go ahead.
Did they teach you in Sunday school that Jesus Christ himself was a radical feminist? God is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary.
We should treat our southern border like our front porch. There should be a giant welcome mat out front.
I want us all to be aware of is that modern science obviously recognizes that there are many more than two biological sexes. In fact, there are 6, which honestly, Representative Hefner surprised me too. Surprised me too, because I am not well versed in this issue
obviously
area. I'm not a scientist. I'm a politician. A lot worse than a scientist.
Obviously not well versed. Good Lord. So
there are modern science says there are 6.
Modern
biology says there are 6 sexes. No, wrong.
May I fact check that? Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Listen, the difference is large gametes, which is what females produce eggs.
Yeah.
Males produce sperm. and those are small gametes, and that is what the difference in biology. Also XXXY. We know that. There are a few syndromes that make you a little bit different. We know that. But I think that his belief system is extremely radical and very frightening.
Yeah, there are.
What did he also said something about the LGBTQ community should have a right to abortion, and abortion should absolutely be legal, and it's Christ-like.
Yeah.
I mean,
transgender people need abortions too, right?
Isn't this guy trying to become a minister?
Presbyterian, yeah. He's allegedly at some seminary or something trying to be a Presbyterian minister. By the way, I fact-checked it there. The greatest of AI. Position A held by the vast majority of people, 2. And position B held by another group of people, 2 plus very rare medical intersex conditions.
Yeah, I think it's XO.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't
hermaphrodite.
Remember. Yeah, and there's a specific scientific definition for that.
Right. And then after that, there's, but 6. 6 is a random number. Where did he come up with? 6 doesn't appear anywhere on the list.
No.
Except in his list.
Right.
Or her list, or whatever he identifies as, or she identifies.
I think
you've hurt my head today, Ivy. My brain hurts.
I think he identifies as a he.
Yeah, who knows?
But nonetheless,
his gender is dipwad. Is that an official position? You got 30 seconds. What do you got?
I just wonder what Bible he's reading, because I do recall something like thou shalt not kill.
Yeah, I remember this one. God the Father.
Yeah, God the Father.
The Son of God is Jesus Christ. I remember Father and Son. I don't think there's a lot of confusion there about non-binary.
Right.
Anyhow, I love you.
I love you.
You've hurt my head today.
You had something to say
there,
there,
I wanted
Anthony?
to know what kind of church is he preaching in?
Presbyterian.
Oh.
Apparently. Yeah.
Oh, those members of the congregation need to stand up and kick that guy out.
Yeah.
Oh, Lordy.
Anyhow, back with final thoughts on this week after this. We are now entering the second week of the war with Iran. It's quite clear that Iran has been greatly reduced in its military strength and power. We're not sure what they hold back at this point. They keep saying that they're going to unleash great weaponry against the United States, Israel, and the entire region. The Arab world has now stood up against Israel. They fired a missile at Turkey here yesterday, intercepted. The Iranian regime has attacked the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. The list goes on, right? Bahrain. We've lost 6 military members in the first week. They all died as a result of a drone strike on a base in Kuwait, another country attacked by the Iranians. Pretty remarkably low number. Now, I do not dismiss the fact that those people lost their lives and their families are in mourning, as they should be. It's a tremendous price to pay. The question now is, how long does it last? The price of oil is on the rise, $85 when I looked earlier. Oil is spiking, $87 now, on its way to $100 a barrel, which means the price of gasoline could be up $1 a gallon or more. That's not good politically for the Trump administration or for Republicans in this country, because some people see only to the gas pump. They don't see beyond that. And the fact that Iran has killed thousands of Americans over 47 years with its proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, and others. I believe it was the right thing to do, but I understand those that disagree. I do understand those that disagree. But those that just hate America because it's Donald Trump, that I don't understand. We'll continue to watch it for you here as it continues to unfold. All right? Fight the good fight and keep the faith. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. This is The Steve Gruber Show. And remember, only you can save America.